continuing our coverage here at the 99th Apple Blossom Festival. Sports guest joining me. A lot of people know him, Royce Gracie. He's a pro fighter, UFC MMA style fighting. Mr. Gracie, thank you so much for some time. It's great to see you, sir. First and foremost, your time in Winchester so far, how do you like the area?
I love it. I just found out about the Apple Blossom, what it's all about. It's actually a bunch of apple trees, and the whole thing's here. It started here. So I love it.
So just in your short time, what have you seen from the community that really stands out to you?
Well, the cold weather stands out to me. I'm from Brazil. It's like, and this is cold, okay? But no, it's the whole community, the way they do this. It's like, oh man, it's an awesome experience.
Well, this time last year was like low 90s, so the weather here crazy. It goes from 70 one day to 30 the next day. So the weather here, you probably wouldn't like it if you're from Brazil.
No, this is too cold, and it's like 60, and it's cold for me.
So yeah, take us through, what are you doing present day currently? I know listening to your message at the sports breakfast, and you said you're doing some academy work with some people within UFC MMA. Can you elaborate more on that?
I travel about 8 months of the year all over the world teaching the art that my family created in Brazil. So it's like from law enforcement to service members, first responders, to private schools, teaching, traveling and teaching. I love to travel, I love to teach, so I put both together.
You mentioned something that your family created in Brazil. How meaningful is it that you have the opportunity to continue teaching to the next generation that your family once brought so long ago?
What happens in Brazil, nobody knows. So my brother knew that, my older brother Horion, he knew that by bringing jiu-jitsu to America, once America found out, the whole world would discover, would fall in love with it. But you got to bring it to America. So that's what he did. He brought to America in the 70s and started teaching, create the first UFC. He was the one that, my brother Horion was the one that created the UFC. And once the world saw it, everybody, now it's all over the world. Now jiu-jitsu it grew, spread all over the world.
Yeah, you mentioned in the sports breakfast, I think it was your brother envisioned a pit with a shark tank underneath. I found that pretty funny, but just in terms of just, you won the first UFC championship. Just creating that, you and your family, and getting the opportunity to compete at such a high level, what did that mean to you?
It was, on the beginning, it was a quest that my family had to find out which style of martial arts is the best, because Kung Fu guys say they're the best. And then the karate guys said they're the best. It's like, wait, let's take the rules out, take the time limit. So it was a quest that my family had to find out which style of martial art is the best, what works and what doesn't. Let's put the best karate guy against the best boxer and see who wins, you see? So it's just curiosity that we had. And when my brother created the first UFC, they had crazy ideas. They had a pit with sharks and then gators. They keep changing, piranhas. And then if you fall off the pit, it's like the piranhas. I was like, dude, you can't do that. It's like, and then they like, let's put a fence with barbed wires and electrical fence. And it's like, I keep saying, no, man, it's too crazy, too out of control. So, but then they just made a cage, an octagon, and the idea was bring the best of one of each style of martial art, and you see the best style would survive, would win, and that's how we proved the effectiveness of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
So in terms of back then when it started, how have you seen the evolution of the sport? Because there's so much popularity with UFC fight cards, pay-per-view, stuff like that. Some of the biggest stages, some of the biggest arenas hosting stuff like this. Just take me through the modern day and how you've seen just the transition of UFC and fighting in general from back then to now.
On the beginning was a style against a style. Today, it's a fighter against a fighter because all the grapplers all the wrestling guys, they had to learn submissions, they had to learn how to strike. And all the strikers had to learn wrestling to take people down, had to learn submissions from jiu-jitsu. So it became not a style against a style anymore. We proved that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was the best self-defense style out there. So today is more of an athlete against an athlete who can do the best training camp, who can cut weight. Everybody cut weight. Back then there was no cutting weight. That was one weight division, open weight, whoever, doesn't matter. Let's put I fought a guy who was 6'8", 490 pounds. So there was no weight division, no gloves, no time limit. So now it's not as raw as used to be. Now it's more the evolution. It's more of there's time limits, there's rounds, there's judges, there's the rules. You see, so there's all kind of stuff involved now. But everybody had to learn Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Everybody had to learn. All the strikers had to learn grappling. Grapplers had to learn stand-up.
What stood out to me, and you mentioned you have to learn wrestling, different aspects of the sport to compete back then. Did that make it, in a sense, better because you're learning different skills to compete at this UFC style back in the day?
It got harder because everybody before, if it was just a wrestling against jiu-jitsu, wrestlers don't have submission, they don't have striking. So they didn't stand much of a chance until they learned jiu-jitsu. So they can do submission until they learn striking, you see. So I would say, yes, it's harder now because now it's an athlete against an athlete. That's what I said. Not a style against a style anymore. We proved that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is the best style. So now it's an athlete against an athlete. It's who have the best training camp, who have the best strategy to come into the fight, who can cut weight better, you see, without struggle.
And last but not least, you mentioned you're across the country training. You mentioned law enforcement agency stuff. So this is stuff that can be applied to like real world situations in certain aspects. How huge is that?
The difference between Gracie Jiu-Jitsu and other styles like stand-up striking styles is a boxer, for instance. If a police officer learning how to box, he either hit the opponent, the suspect, or he doesn't hit. There's no halfway. There's no half a punch. If he hits somebody, they get sued. The police department gets sued. Karate, Taekwondo, Kung Fu, they're all great striking arts. But if they hits the suspect, they're going to get sued. With Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I can subdue the opponent without hurting the opponent. I don't rely on punching and kicking. I don't rely on striking. I rely on submissions. I can subdue the opponent without hurting the opponent. That's why people fall in love with it.
A lot of fun. It's an honor and privilege to be joined by Royce Gracie here at the 99th Apple Blossom Festival. Certainly appreciate your time, Mr. Gracie, and enjoy the rest of the festivities, sir.
Thank you.